Good evening, everyone. This is Delicious Don Juan, the Texas Treat, and you are listening to the Countdown City WrestleCast.
What's up, heels and baby faces? Welcome to another episode of the Countdown City WrestleCast. I'm your host, JC, and now my name tag is all the way over by my name. Things got a little crazy here for a second, and I am joined this week by Tommy.
Hello.
And, of course, we got Mike.
What's up? I'm Mike. I love wrestling, and like wrestling fans, last Wednesday night, for the first 30 minutes, love always wins.
Wow. Yeah, what a match. We're going to talk all about that on the WrestleCast today. We have a lot to discuss. Talking about AEW Grand Slam, talking about WWE Extreme Rules. Got to say it was better than last year's Extreme Rules, but you know, that's what you mean. Yeah.
There were some similar. Well, no, was that last year? Maybe not last year.
Maybe, yeah. Okay.
Extreme Rules has had some very similar themes over the last few years.
Yeah.
Even with different people.
And then we're going to be talking about this. Talking about discussing / debating the 2021 PWI 500. What do we think of it? Yeah. Where some changes, you know, the whole 9 yards on that. So, as always,
some things I didn't like and saw some things I loved. So
yeah. As always,
just
go ahead.
Beware, Thor is in the area.
Yes.
So, God of Thunder and electricity may be paying visits around here. So just be careful and be safe, everybody.
So the interesting part is we'll be able to know who the Thunder was closest to because we'll pick it up first, and then we'll see it kind of echo with everyone else and just kind of hear it. We're kind of somewhat nearby where we live, but
bees.
Yeah. So if you see any camera freezes for a little bit, but as long as you hear the voice, we're still good. We're gonna try and knock this out because the storm's gonna get worse about an hour from now, and so I wanted to make sure we got this in. So.
I don't want to go to sleep tonight.
Let's jump right into it. Let's talk about AEW Grand Slam. It was basically a 2-night thing, Dynamite and Rampage, but I'm pretty sure the Rampage segment was pre-taped, most likely on the same night as Dynamite. But everyone...
The hour
before?
An hour before and an hour afterwards. Yeah.
Okay. But everyone seems to be discussing mostly Dynamite itself because... and all the talk has really been about that 30-minute time limit draw we got between Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson. And wow. Guys, what more is there to say? Is that match of the year so far?
It's
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
It's up there. If it's not, it is. It's like, and that was like the perfect way to do it too, because it was 30 minutes. It was a title limit draw, and again, the title wasn't on the line, which was my favorite part about that match. It was purely for the pride of both these guys.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume that the title will eventually be on the line, but it's going to be way down the road. Yeah. You know, when Brian's actually got a win-loss.
It's interesting because we spend a lot of time talking about different people we think may take it off Omega. We've talked about some of the people we think will be next in line. So it'd be interesting now with the introduction of some of the new people, how much that changes, you know, who's next. It's going to be real fun to kind of follow this championship title lineage over the next year or two easily.
Yep. That was just simply amazing. And, you know, the funny part is that, you know, I kind of feel like when they announced the time limit and then when they gave us the warning later on, it's like, okay, this is going the full distance. But it didn't feel like a 30-minute match. There wasn't a lot of, like, rest periods to it. There wasn't a lot of, like... I mean, honestly, the only time wasn't really any action was the very beginning when the bell rang and the crowd was just going nuts for those two guys in the ring, you know? Yeah. But I thought it was great. I thought it was pretty interesting how in the finish of it they're still just fighting, and it just kept on going and get into a submission and just kept fighting. So, but this is something I'm looking forward to seeing again and again. From Bryan Danielson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Let's try to think of some other matches that were on that card. Obviously, the main event was Britt Baker, DMD versus Ruby Soho. Go ahead, Mike.
So torn in that match. I was so torn. I mean, I like Britt Baker's run right now, and she's doing great.
Mm-hmm.
But Ruby really got to show what she's capable of, not hindered by the normal, kind of WWE. And this is a theme I think we're going to come back to a few times when we talk about things that happened this week, is WWE hindering itself with the need for the story over the wrestling. But, Ruby really just getting to wrestle and show what she's capable of. And I get the ending. I get the way it worked out. And I'm not 100% mad, but I kind of I was really torn. But it was such a great match.
I heard a lot about that. Like another friend of mine said he was mad at the ending too, but I think they're trying to work overtime. They're trying to make Britt a heel. It's just not working.
Yeah.
So, it's like guys, you gotta hate her at some point. We refuse.
Okay, here's the thing. Usually when you want to turn someone heel, you stop doing all the things that the fans get behind. So if they really want to turn her heel, needs to stop DMD. Because it's just such an easy thing for the fans to get behind. And the fans just want to interact.
Mm-hmm.
So if they really wanted to go full heel, kind of, again, similar to Becky not really being as much the man anymore and being more Seth Rollins-y, you need to stop doing the things that the fans can get behind and not give them stuff to cheer with or go along with.
My only counter to that is Bayley, because when she comes back, regardless of what she does, she's gonna get cheered. The only chance she has if she like I don't know, punches a baby in the face, and even then,
don't give her any ideas, Golly.
Goldberg's son, they'll probably say he deserved it, or the baby deserved it. So, the baby jumped on her back. It wasn't Bayley.
Bayley, acknowledge me as your role model, that kind of thing. So.
Actually, that would be pretty boss. Now
Yeah.
you said that.
Some other highlights from the Dynamite session. MJF and Brian Pillman Jr. This was the first time I'd really gotten to see Brian Pillman Jr. in a full match on TV, and it was impressive. A lot of his dad in there, and I really enjoyed that.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't know about the mullet, man.
Yeah. Someone's got to bring it back, right?
It's just a choice, but yeah.
The Malachi Black going over Cody Rhodes again. I'm curious to see where this goes, because it was a bit awkward with, first of all, the Arn Anderson missing where he was supposed to be to take a bump. And
because he fell legitly the first time.
Yeah, he did fall legitly.
You saw that. He legitly fell the first time, then got back up to go get knocked down.
Yeah. And Cody going to check on him, and he was just like, just get back in the ring. I wonder if there's some... They've been teasing this for a while. Cody versus Arn, this whole rift in the Nightmare family. But it was good to see Brandy Rhodes back on TV.
It's good to see Brandy Rhodes, period.
Yep.
Yes. Agree.
Yeah.
But are we all in agreement? Cody knows what he's doing, right?
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
He was Homelander on purpose.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I was gonna say that his whole outfit was Homelander. That's all that was. No, he knows what he's doing. Cody.
I would almost be so disappointed. He's got to know what he's doing, because he's doing everything. I'm never gonna be a heel. I'm gonna be a face forever. And he's getting booed out of the building, and it has to be on purpose, because he does it too well.
Definitely. I have no doubt in my mind.
He's being a face, but yeah, it's great. I really enjoy it.
He does it too well, and I'm convinced that he is taking in all of this Twitter criticism and everything, and just waiting for the right moment to strike with it. It's like to me, it was like all that stuff with Anthony Ogogo and everything was just slowly building up to it. It's like he knew what he was doing then.
Yeah.
It's like when you purposefully be a jackass to get a joke over.
Right.
And I think that's what he's doing.
You know what I think is going to be one of his real, true first heel things?
What's that?
Is to find a way to get out of that. He's not allowed to wrestle for the
challenge for the
AEW
world
heavyweight.
title thing? Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
going to be the heel thing when he weasels out of it to get a title match somehow.
Yeah,
That's what I think down the road.
for sure. Sting and Darby Allin still undefeated as a tag team, I believe, and FTR defeating FTR. Great match. I mean, that was really the dynamite portion of it. I actually still need to go back and see CM Punk versus Hobbs from Rampage. I got a little late getting to see that, so.
I saw a few minutes of that. It was good. It was good
I watched it, dude. He let Hobbs do a lot. Like he really gave him a lot. It was a great match. I was telling Tommy a little bit before we got on, while we were waiting for you, that Rampage was a really strange show because it bookended really great.
Mm-hmm.
But there were some things in the middle that I just found odd that they did for storyline purposes, but didn't logically make sense.
Yeah, did it feel like a New Japan show to you with all the 6-man, the 8-man, the tag team matches that are just people kind of thrown together? Isn't that what it felt like to you, Mike?
Yeah. It feels like Tony Khan was trying to get everyone that Arthur Ashe payday.
Yeah.
It's like okay, all of you, you're going to be in these random tag team matches, but hey, you will get a check.
Yeah.
And everyone said and Jack Evans said, "I'll speak for all of us. We know it and we accept." And sat back down.
Well, here's what I was telling Tommy: is so like the Inner Circle. I understand that they're kind of doing some things separate from each other right now.
Right.
But you had Jericho and Hager fight Men of the Year and then get jumped by America's Top Team. No one from Inner Circle ran out to save them, which was a little bit like, okay, they've been the Inner Circle for a long time. You know, you would think they would come out. But then literally they come back from commercial break, and the first team out is Pride and Powerful for the 8-man.
Yeah.
So I was like, I mean, they're all on the same team. Sammy came out later with Fuego, and I was like, none of y'all came out to save Jericho. And honestly, that dude who runs American Top Team, already on the level of Stephanie McMahon for me. I literally turn off AEW. That is the most annoying. Like, it goes beyond like, oh, I want to see him get beat up. Like, no, just I'm going to change it till you're done. This is, I can't stand it.
America's Top Team getting Stephanie McMahon heat. That's insane. That's the go away heat too.
And just the main guy, whatever his name is, I don't know, Dan Lambert or
Dan Lambert, I think.
Oh man, but hey, Grand Slam was great. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. If you missed it and didn't get to DVR it, if you load the TNT app either on your phone, your Roku device, or whatever, you can sign with your TV subscription and go back and watch it too. That stuff is on demand there as well. So worth a watch. Great venue Arthur Ashe Stadium is. Who knew
that looked really good.
Who knew a tennis arena would be great for wrestling? It's amazing, you know.
Real quick, one last thing on that. Going back to the Dynamite Wednesday night show.
Yeah.
So they had the 30-minute match, and then they followed up with a Punk promo. So it legitimately made me think there's a How I Met Your Mother episode with Barney talking about how he makes a mixtape. Do you know what I'm talking about already, Tommy?
Yes.
He uses Bon Jovi's, what is it, Shot Through the Heart, and You're to Blame. He's like, so you start high, and then you go higher.
Yeah.
And that's literally what they were like, oh, did you enjoy this 30-minute match of the century? Here's CM Punk on a mic. Mm-hmm. I was like, just keep taking it up.
And
like it was a great start. Like first hour was really. I mean, the whole show was good, like we talked about. But I love how they went from Omega Daniel Bryan to CM Punk promo. I was like, oh, just keep going.
It's one of their special episodes that it feels like it's a pay-per-view. It's they're giving this to us on TV for free, and this is a pay-per-view. I would have paid money to see Omega and Danielson literally anywhere. That's a pay-per-view match, but they announced that it had. See, this is where also I say, I mean, I haven't heard this argument in a long time, so I'm not going to say it like I just heard someone say this. But this is also where I say they learned their lesson from WCW. You know, it's like first of all, when Bryan Danielson came in and stared down Kenny Omega, everyone knew we were going to get this match at some point. Mm-hmm. Everyone knew that. And when they said we're going to get it in a week in advance, and it's not for the title, which was an important part, which makes the match high stakes, but not as high as they can be. That's where you have this match where because like you said, look at how we're talking about it now. They had 30 minutes. You imagine if they get like an Iron Man match or like a 4-hour-long time limit match with the belt on the line.
I was wondering that if they would go there at some point down the road, given where they started.
It's possible.
I
would see them going like 40 to 45 minutes because just because they don't need to go. They don't need to go the full hour, in my opinion, because like I've seen you see that done in wrestling, and like the times when it's done right, it's fine. I'm just saying that you don't have to always do it because to meet expectations. They could go like 45 minutes and still kill it.
Yeah.
And I saw this too online about, and I mean Daniel Bryan too, but Omega's conditioning is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Like
for sure.
What he like, I know and I know he's done it with him and Okada and him and Ibushi. They've had those long matches, but the amount of things he does and the energy he expends in that 30, 45 minutes and never really looks tired or. I mean, he sells and will play like he's getting beaten, but he never really looks like, oh man, he's tired. He looks like he can't,
he's
slowing down. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Guys, Grand Slam was great. These really, I'm really enjoying these. They're starting to feel like the Clash of Champions, old WCW things all over again. So. Looking forward to see how this Fallout goes and how this gets into full gear. That's about a little over a month away. And congrats AEW on being the first show in Arthur Ashe Stadium wrestling-wise, pulling in over 1 million at the gate, the first non-WWE wrestling promotion to do that in a long time. And just killing the ratings too. It's been pretty fun to see. Now with that, we'll move into Sunday, Extreme Rules. This one, okay, the build-up we discussed, it got a little interesting. They made the audible call, having Big E cash in, so that took away a title match from the show. The card itself, I mean, they added maybe like 1 or 2 matches that didn't have a major play on the show itself, but your thoughts overall, just kind of quick, what you liked and what you didn't like about Extreme Rules.
I didn't catch all of it.
Okay.
To be honest, and I'm just like, but what I did catch, I was like, okay, this isn't. You know what? You know why I'm kind of like about it is like the name needed to be called something else. That's just that is all that kills it for me. It's like the Extreme Rules. There was one match that was
one match that rules, yeah.
Just drop this gimmick. Just drop it. Just call it a regular show. I didn't hate it. It wasn't the worst show they've ever done. We've seen those. I don't know. The name now ruins it for me. Like, just give it. I miss Unforgiven. I miss No Mercy. I miss those generic but yet hardcore sounding pay-per-view names. I miss those. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just a product of that generation, but I miss those names. Extreme Rules now sounds lame, especially when you don't have any Extreme Rules matches to back it up, save the main event. And we all know how that went.
For me, this pay-per-view was a microcosm of exactly WWE's strength and weakness at the same time. The wrestlers themselves put on great matches. But too many things got hindered by booking and storyline because there has to be that sports entertainment element to it. Mm-hmm. The women's match, Charlotte and
Alexa,
a great match, but we had to do the storyline with the doll, and Alexa apparently didn't know how to dissolve an Alka-Seltzer tab in her mouth, so there was that little thing. I'm sure we'll talk about the main event. Great match, and then Vince McMahon must have a secret fetish for a heat lamp. And I still want to find out. I'm waiting for Friday because I feel like there might be a divine intervention storyline coming. Because we'll get to that, but I don't know. So the matches were really good, though. Like
No, they were even.
Usos and Street Profits. You
Wow.
know, had a really good match. Like they were Bianca and Becky were having a good match again. Storyline thing had to interrupt it, not let us get a really good finish, you know. And I just feel like that's kind of WWE's biggest issue, and it's been for a while, is they've got great wrestlers. Wrestlers are doing all that they can, but they have to fit into these storylines, and more often than not, they're hindering them.
I feel like they kind of do things backwards. It's like they try to finish their big storylines on TV. That's what the pay-per-view should be for.
Yeah.
The pay-per-view should be, there are people who will make the argument where places like Impact, Ring of Honor, AEW do things like that, where they, you know, like pay-per-views carry on making storylines and they end on TV. Well, there's also the fact that Impact, Ring of Honor, AEW don't have pay-per-views every month. They end stuff on TV because that makes their TV must-see. Like, if you miss an episode of Raw, like most of us did for about a year, you don't miss much. If you catch the pay-per-view, you get the gist of what happened. If you miss an AEW, an Impact, or an ROH, you potentially just missed weeks of story in one episode. You really did. Because people can turn traitor, return, leave, champions are crowned, that kind of thing. It's like with WWE, that's not the case. You guys have pay-per-views all the time. That's where you're supposed to end. Like the Becky and Bianca thing should have been definitively ended one way or the other. Sasha could have like jumped them like next time, or jumped them after the match, you know, or something like that. I don't know. I mean, that wasn't the worst thing ever. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like, oh, that's the worst booking decision they've ever done. It's not.
No.
In fact, in comparison, it's not even. It won't even rank in my top 100 of worst storylines I've ever done. But it's just like that. It just feels weird to me. And it's not even weird enough to get mad about, but weird enough to be like, what's going on there? What are we doing, guys? What's happening?
To play devil's advocate to your thought, they may actually be getting more money out of their TV deals now than pay-per-views on Peacock and stuff. I mean, Fox, played a big deal, and that Fox seems to be, always like not happy with them, or supposedly so. They may be focusing more than, obviously their bigger pay-per-views, I think, they try to make big deals. And then, of course, like the Saudi money is more than everything else they do combined. So
seriously.
And this is kind of,
I didn't even think about that.
This is kind of the issue with them basically trying to serve two masters. You have USA Network, you have Peacock, USA Twice when you think about it. All that's under NBC Universal. But their Friday show is through Fox, and those are competing networks.
Yeah.
So, and Fox put in a lot of money, wants to see this. That's why this draft on Friday is going to be very interesting, because what talent does Fox specifically want? And then are you going to leave USA with the scraps? I
just hope we don't get those lame boardroom people cheering. Yeah, I felt so bad last year because Cultaholic was like, they were cheering because they got Natalia. Come on. I was like, oh, it's wrong, but kind of funny.
I'm curious to see how they're going to do this as well. What moves they make, what storylines. Obviously, when something crazy happens and Fox gets it and USA doesn't, there's this back and forth. And
I just got the Hurt Business back together.
Yeah.
Have all the makings for a faction war that I want. Because we may never get New Day and the Elite, which is in my fantasy world what I would book immediately as the main event. Of course, we shared that on Twitter.
Yeah.
But
can
we please get Hurt Business and New Day? Come on.
Can we have a draft where you don't purposely try to split up factions or tag teams? There's no point to it.
Stephanie McMahon. Oh, that's just
so. Now, as far as the main event of Extreme Rules, obviously the show itself, there's one match that actually had Extreme Rules. Everything was great. The main event was great. We really hoping the Demon was going to pull this out, because please, we cannot have that, be the reason. And the Extreme Rules thing, he had the win. The Usos get involved. Great. He fights them off. And honestly, when they pulled the heat lamp back out, that was a great moment. The crowd was hype. He was going nuts. But why the broken rope? You could have gone.
Well, we have theories.
Yeah, one which is the best one, and it's the only one that I'll accept. And Mike shared this with us, is Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic. And I quote from his tweet: "The rope not being able to withstand the weight of Finn's massive dick needs to be the storyline explanation for that tragic finish. Make it happen, WWE."
I read that in passing, and I had to do a double take. I said, wait, what words did I was like, because my brain jumbled them up for a second. Like, whoa. Oh, that's what that says. Oh, dear God. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought Cultaholic just lost it for a minute. But
they know exactly what they're doing.
They do. You're right. I just
so hilarious.
Well, to me, also, my problem is that's such a dangerous thing to me. And like from a person who's seen ropes break live at shows, and like you're legitimately concerned for the wrestlers, I don't like that. I do not like that. I mean, I get it if it was planned, please God. If it's planned and everyone was safe, great, fantastic. It's just the legitimate anxiety I feel when a rope breaks is just like is real. Like I've seen it break at shows. I've almost like just jumped the barricade to check on people I know if they're okay. So
you can tell it was planned. You can tell. He's standing up there for an absurdly long time, and here am I thinking, is there too much smoke? He can't see what's going on. And
I was like, is he waiting for a part of his music to hit?
Yeah, and you watch the replay, you realize Paul Heyman stood way back because he knew it was coming, and Finn was just prepping to protect himself. He knew. Right. But my thought is that is a dangerous move. I mean, if it goes wrong, if he doesn't have his weight distributed right, who knows? I get it. You wanted to do some sort of thing where the demon goes absolutely nuts and the ring breaks. But it just, for all the adrenaline that's going, it just killed all the crowd hype. It was like, what's going on? If you had him do the coup de grace and the entire ring broke off the impact of that, I could see that. That would have been better. You know?
Yes.
It would have been, and I stand by what I'm about to say. It would not be the craziest thing in wrestling that we've all accepted.
No.
For 20 years, guys, a zombie.
And
20 years, guys, a zombie.
And how many times have we seen like a ring break and the show ends? Like the ref somehow gets knocked out. The wrestlers.
Big Show's in AEW now, so they don't have anyone to break the rings.
But think about it. You had this whole adrenaline rush.
That's still one of the greatest moments of all time.
Yeah,
it really was.
I know what JC is saying. That's why I agree. That's still one of the greatest endings to a show I've ever seen. I don't care how absurd it looks.
Yeah.
That was one of the greatest endings to a show I've ever seen.
But it also gets less and less impressive every time it pops up from the first time. But you know.
But if you do it as a complete surprise, like, did anyone really think they would do some like broken rope? If you had done a broken ring off of a demon stomp.
No, the way you said it, I think the way that hit, that would have been something pretty crazy.
Yeah. You've rigged a ring to bust before. That's a lot safer than a top rope busting, I would think, you know?
Yeah.
My thing is, I would also I just thought of this. It'd be probably better if the rope broke before he got there. Like, he can't do the thing that's guaranteed him wins before. It's like it breaks for no reason, and he's like, what the hell do I do now? And he's like just scrambling to do whatever he can. I'd have thought, again, this just goes back to my point of the rope breaking and my own. That's my own anxiety talking in that regard. So
yeah, but it's a shame they went that route. I mean, you had Roman Reigns, the top heel in the company, like looking to the sky, like thanking God that the rope broke, for crying out loud.
That's exactly what I'm like. Are they about to start some sort of divine intervention like that? I mean, are they ripping off God's favorite warrior from Miro already, or? I just want to see what they're going to do with that.
So, yeah. But I will say this: it will all be great. I will forgive all this if on Friday Roman goes in the ring and says, "Even God acknowledges me," and I was like, okay, you know what? Okay, never mind. I take it all back.
Michael shows up for some reason.
Yeah, I'll say my thoughts about Roman for my 1 minute warning, because there's a lot I do want to say about it. Good and bad, but the Finn thing, I'm very disappointed that this is the way they go to end the Finn's main roster, the Demon's main roster undefeated streak. It sucks.
Yeah.
You could have just done a broken ring, no contest. It would have protected everything, and you could have moved on, and we probably would have been okay with it. You know,
The infamous no contest in hardcore Extreme Rules.
I mean, you did it in a Hell in a Cell.
I know, that's why.
And did you hear how pissed Seth Rollins was after that? So I don't
Yeah,
even want to do it again.
Well, hold on. He was upset about that was a different match. The Hell in a Cell no contest was Brock Lesnar going and destroying everybody. His was the whole pull out the hammer. I think it was at Crown Jewel.
Yeah. No. Oh, maybe it was.
It was like a referee stoppage, and then, all of a sudden the Fiend is still back and everything. But I did see that segment where Seth is talking about he wanted to strangle Vince. He thought it was so stupid.
Yeah.
And took some time and cooled off, and that was great. So.
He's not the only person who's wanted to strangle Vince before. He won't be the last.
Yeah.
No. Also, a shout out though to that match of Roman going, "I got a kendo stick," and then Finn going, "You call that a kendo stick?"
Yeah.
Which also euphemism for Balor and his large extremity possibility. So just
hashtag the demon is bigger. Yep. All right. Let's see how we did on our picks here. I went 2-3. Tommy went 3-2. Mike went 4-1. The Becky and Bianca Belair match was technically a no contest, so that one gets thrown out. That's technically how they did it. Now, if it had been what I looked like, could have been a DQ, the way they did it, because I think she attacks Bianca, right? Yeah.
I think
So, she attacked Bianca first.
Yeah, because then her and Becky thought she was like helping her out, kind of.
Yeah.
That's right.
If they had just left it at that, technically the DQ would have stood, and Bianca would have technically gotten the win, but not the title. But WWE has officially ruled it a no contest, so the match gets thrown out. So that's why we only have those ratings there. So now on to our WrestleCast ratings. 0 to 5, 5 being WrestleMania 17, 0 being December to Dismember. I'm going to go first on this one and just say, like Mike talked about, this was a show where the wrestling was good and the sports entertainment was bad. The sports entertainment just ruined otherwise good things. Now, I understand the Alexa killing the doll thing. Charlotte mentioned the promos. She wants to get rid of this whole demon thing. Wants the old Alexa back and Alexa wrestle like the old Alexa. And reports are that she is taking some time off and probably going to be coming back as good old Alexa Bliss.
Whoa. Let's not be quick on getting rid of Goth Alexa, okay?
No, I'm not quick on it.
You can get rid of the doll, but Goth Alexa, just hang out for a bit. It's cool.
I don't mind it, Goth Alexa, personally, and honestly, how they can't keep those damn dolls in stock. Let's be honest here. Yeah. Those sell out quick. Yeah. I don't care if you're trying to lose ties to the Fiend. I don't care if people are chanting Bray Wyatt. The doll's making money for her and the company. So why get rid of it, It
makes me think of Ant-Man. It's so ugly. I love it.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that scene so much. Oh my God.
But either way, whether they bring, I guess maybe bring Alexa back as like a less demonic but still goth Alexa or something, however they're going to repackage this, I have no idea. Yeah. But she's taking some time off. I'm assuming her wedding is coming up because she's already released the engagement pictures and everything like that. So...
nice.
Yeah, she's been on the road for so long, even through the pandemic. Get the time, get married. Take the time for yourself to do that. So, but yeah, the main event was great. I think the main event was salvaging this show until the finish. So, but the wrestling kept this from being in the fours. I'm sorry, the sports entertainment kept this from being in the fours. The wrestling is what got it so high. So it's a 3.75 for me. Personally, there's some, if you just do things a little bit differently, you can keep the sports entertainment, but just make it make sense. Like, can we get the wrestling guys and the sports entertainment guys like booking together for once? It seems like it's two different guys. We'll book the match, you guys book the finish. No, that doesn't make any sense to me. So 3.75 for me. Tommy, what about you?
Actually, that's exactly what I was going to give it. Was a 3.75 because I feel the same. It's like, see, this is also, I think, what people kind of forget about, because we made this before about old WCW, its last days. They had great wrestling a lot of the time. You just didn't know it because the storylines were so stupid. So yes. They had, even when they had great wrestling, you didn't notice because everything else just like kind of overshadowed it. So this is why even like when the cruiserweight division was going great, you didn't know it's because the main events were weird sometimes. And this is the kind of the reverse case of that, where the main event was great, but then the finish was kind of not good at all. So at 3.75 for me, I would love it if they would not do that again. But you know, it's WWE. They are going to, but you know, hopefully maybe not. We'll see. I dare to hope. Big E won the world title. I'm gonna dare to hope from now on. I just I'll see.
And retained it on Monday too, when they thought they could have just easily taken
Monday.
it away. So
Thank you, Jesus.
yeah,
I was really scared they were going to start doing that thing where he starts taking non-title losses, and which they've done to several of their champions that weren't Brock or Roman or the big guys. So I'm kind of glad they haven't yet. See how long it lasts.
All right, Mike, what's your rating for Extreme Rules?
You know what? I think I'm going to stick right there with y'all. I was in the same ballpark of around 4, maybe just below it, but I think that's good, and it's all the reasons we've just kept saying. It's WWE's biggest issue at this point overall for the last few years is they've got a lot of talent. They've got a lot of men and women that are doing the best they can, putting on as much wrestling as they can, but they can't always fully wrestle because they got to throw. And WWE just goes way too much to the over-the-top storylines. There was a promo package with Daniel Bryan or an interview or something recently where he was talking about his match, and he's talking about he's been away from wrestling since April, but he's been away from actually really giving it all in his wrestling for a long time because there was always the story you had to teach, and that's what it is. They've got a lot of talent. We didn't even mention the U.S. title triple threat, which was again another great wrestling match.
Yeah, exactly.
That one didn't even really get hindered by any storyline.
That was good.
Yeah, that was a pretty solid match, but it got lost in the middle of all this other
The gimmicky
tomfoolery.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, then it's easy for us. Overall rating 3.75.
Whoa, in your head, impressive.
I know. Thank you, and thank you, Microsoft Excel, for confirming that as well. I do appreciate that. Just to note, last year's Extreme Rules, let me double check here. 3.25. The Horror Show Extreme Rules is what we called it. It was 3.25. So.
The Horror Show.
Yeah, please, God, never, ever again. Please.
Never again.
Yeah.
Never again.
Best little horror show in Texas.
All right, let's jump into something we're going to have a little bit of fun debating. And if you're watching this live, and I know there may not be a whole lot of y'all doing it, that's fine. I know it's crazy. Maybe some people lost electricity. Sorry, hang in there. But if you go back and watch it and you kind of want to share your thoughts on this as we go along, we're talking about the PWI 500. Let me actually put the graphic of the magazine cover up so everybody can see it that's watching here. There you go. Whoa. There it is. The cover of the PWI 500, the most hotly debated. This person should be lower. This person should be higher. Why is this person on the list? Who the hell is that? We get all those questions, right? I don't know how in depth we're gonna go, and potentially we could talk all night. But I'm gonna try and limit this as much as we can, and just kind of share our thoughts on it. But this edition came out. Before we get into the discussion, let me just kind of go over the criteria for you guys here. The evaluation period was July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. Now, the main criteria here, it's based off in-ring achievement, which is your win-loss, your championships won, your tournaments won, your influence on your influence on the sport, your visibility and your prestige, your technical ability, the quality of your maneuvers, your matches, and your ring psychology. The competition, your success against the highest grade of competition, your success against the most diverse competition, and of course, activity. The criteria being minimum 3 matches total or 6 matches in separate months, which I like to call the Brock Lesnar rule. But then again, Lesnar didn't even wrestle enough matches to qualify for that. So he's not even on this list. Believe it or not.
Look at the shock on my face.
Yeah, I was gonna say, oh no, how tragic. Can we talk about the list now?
Yeah, let's talk about the list. Let's start with the top 10. Just kind of get right into it. And number 1 was interesting because in the article itself, Kenny was surprised by it. He thought there's so many different options they could have gone with, but Kenny Omega, number 1. Roman Reigns number 2, who Kenny Omega said he thought Roman could easily have been number 1, and he would have been.
Yeah. Honestly, a little surprised by the non-kayfabe honesty of, because I heard some of the interview. I didn't read it obviously from the magazine, but heard some of it in some clips online.
Yeah.
And not that I don't think Omega's a good dude in general, like in real life, but just really surprised to hear the honesty and just kayfabe of the way he was talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, he let me see if I can find the actual quote. He says here, quote, "No matter how I look at it, I didn't run away with it. I don't think I was number 1 by far. I think the best part about this year especially is you could have gone in multiple directions and no one would have been disappointed. I feel that up until his unfortunate injury, number 1 could have been Will Ospreay. Number 1 could have easily been Shingo Takagi. Number 1 could have easily been Roman Reigns. Everyone had such a strong year." Yeah. Well said. I mean, with everything going on, there was a lot to shell out. But he was number 1, Roman Reigns number 2, Bobby Lashley number 3, Drew McIntyre number 4, Kota Ibushi number 5, Jon Moxley number 6, Will Ospreay number 7, Finn Balor number 8, Shingo Takagi number 9, and Rich Swann cracking the top 10, finishing at number 10. So
yeah, boy, yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
He kind of secretly had a great year, you know. I think it was one of the surprises of the list, you know.
Oh, secretly to everybody else,
Yeah.
I was gonna call bullshit if he wasn't in the top 10 at least. Because I said it. I've been saying it all year. I said it since he won the belt last year. And Rich Swann was carrying Impact. I knew the whole time he deserved to be up there. And when PWI put him on there, I was like, yeah, baby, that's what the hell I'm talking about. Give that man his due.
Just quickly, right outside the top 10, Cody Rhodes was number 11.
I'm kind of shocked by that.
Yeah.
That's just me, I guess.
Randy Orton at 12, Big E 13, Darby Allin at 14, moving up from 55 last year. Tetsu Naito dropping from 5 to 15. That's where it's right there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Some of the others that dropped out of the top 10, Chris Jericho dropped from 3 to 19, Okada dropping from 6 to 25, and I'm trying to see if there's any other quick listed ones here.
Jeff Cobb.
Let's see, where is Jeff Cobb on here?
Oh, I know where he is. I'll tell you.
Where is he?
Where is he? You know why I know where he is? He is right below Shane Taylor. Shane Taylor's 138, and Jeff Cobb is 139.
All right.
Yeah,
that might be our first discussion here, Mike. Is Jeff Cobb too low?
well, I mean,
he's right where he deserves to be.
I think Shane Taylor is also really low for what it's worth.
Yeah.
But
he's over Jeff Cobb. Don't care anymore. He's higher than Jeff Cobb. Don't care.
But, you know, when Jeff Cobb actually defeated Okada, that was after June 30th. So next year, I'm sure he'll shoot right back up. And I think Shane Taylor's low, too.
Yeah. God, Tommy.
I don't know why you're offended by this.
Oh, whatever, dude. Nice try.
You know, I don't know. I mean, Shane Taylor was 65 last year. Cobb was 70 last year. For them to drop all the way to 138 and 139 is, I don't know, it's interesting to me.
In all seriousness, I think they both should be higher.
Didn't send any of us a birthday message, but Jeff Cobb did. So just, you know, throwing some things out there. Just saying.
True. That's true. The guy that sent me a birthday message was number 14. So thank you again, Darby Allin. I do appreciate that. Any other like surprises or who's high, low? Is something that stuck out to you when you guys looked through the list?
A couple for me, but before I get to one that really surprised me, I want to give a shout out to Mysterious Q and Brian Keith. They were in the 200s, but that's still out of 500 wrestlers when you're above the top 300. I mean, that's good. The Q is 205, and I think Brian Keith was like 230 something.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know, they've been Brian Keith, I'm sorry, Brian Keith was 251, but they've been working their asses off this past year, and they deserve it. But what makes me happy, and where I was originally mad about where Shane Taylor was until I saw that Trish Adora was 44, and I said, I'm better now. So Trish Adora, number 44, deserves it. By the way, Nikki Savoy versus Trish Adora, I still want that match in Texas. and I'm going to tweet that until it either happens or someone shuts me up.
Yeah.
Since the latter was never going to happen, I'm going to keep tweeting that.
This was actually, you mentioned Trish Adora. This was a historic PWI 500 for women. This, by the way, there were 29 women that appeared in the PWI 500, which is a record for the most to appear in that. And even more so, you mentioned Trish Adora at 44. She's the highest rated woman ever in the PWI 500. There's never been anyone that high. And interestingly enough, it's that she's the only one ranked in double digits. So,
and that's because they wrestle as many men as they do women, right? Like they do a lot of intergender, right?
So their criteria on that is that they excel against opponents of any gender. They potentially have held traditionally male or gender neutral titles. And if they compete exclusively in a women's division or women's promotion, they're not included on this. So it's more like, they've done mixed tags, maybe they've done singles, they work independents, things like that. That's kind of the criteria they have for including women in the PWI 500. But the names on here: Trish Adora at 44, Allie Katch, no longer Allie Cat, at 111, Jordan Grace 179. I've got the list here up on the stream if you want to take a look. I know you guys can't see it in front of you, but there's some notable names here. Lainey Luck, Kylie Ray is at 388, Ashley Vox at 318, Mickey Knuckles at 390.
Is she still wrestling?
I know. I was surprised.
Yeah, IWA South, Mid South, I think, like somewhere like in like.
That's still alive.
Yeah, apparently.
Actually, I was surprised. Actually, I didn't realize till she announced it somewhere, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't know. I had no idea. But yeah, it's still going.
Not to take the thing off the women real quick, but Tommy, just to go ahead and bring us all down in a group effort, how do you feel knowing that QT Marshall is higher than Kushida, Shane Taylor, and Jeff Cobb? How about that?
I'm gonna go ahead and pretend like that isn't the thing that's happening, even though it totally is. I mean, you're telling the truth.
The epitome of charisma, QT Marshall, higher than some of these greats. Just think about that for a bit.
I'd rather not think about it at all. I mean, I would really rather not. I'll say this: at least Bandito, Mustafa Ali are 1 and 2 spots higher than him, and that's depressing.
How do you think they feel being so close to him? That must be like, whoa, what did I do wrong?
I feel like both of them are like looking. I feel like Mustafa Ali and Bandito should call each other and be like, bro, next year we have got to do better. Even if we have to wrestle in parking lots and Walmart against each other repeatedly, we cannot let that happen again.
Mustafa's like, see what disruption did to my career.
In fairness, I agree with that statement, actually.
A couple of the biggest jumps on the 500 this year: Orange Cassidy moved from 84 to 21, Laredo Kid from 299 to 22, cracking the top 25. Pretty awesome. Keith Lee did drop from 11 to 24. A lot of that just him being off TV for so long,
Well, another huge jump was where was it? Here it is. El Hijo del Vikingo. Like, he jumped 258 spots. Number 42.
Oh yeah, he was 300 previously. He was 42. Yeah.
Are these all also based off singles matches, right? Not tag matches?
Mostly singles. Let me see here.
Because how are Matt and Nick they're 116 to 117?
Yeah.
And they're super close, but have they ever wrestled singles matches like with any consistency?
Not with any consistency. I don't think so. No.
A note here. Let me just read the note here. The list prioritizes success in singles competition and in vying for heavyweight singles accolades, and to a lesser extent those in lower weight classes. So, while there's a priority on singles, it's not that they exclude tag team; they just give a little higher priority to that. And I think
that's interesting.
Yeah. So you mean?
Not that I don't think they're talented wrestlers, but I think of this list as for mainly singles wrestling.
Yeah.
So, crap. You know what? I'm gonna have to. I'll be right back.
Okay.
My gotta grab something real quick. Y'all keep talking.
Okay.
And I will be back.
Okay.
All right.
I was gonna say I just saw that Lance Archer was 104 dropping down from the list, but Wheeler Yuta, I guess because of all the time he's been putting in AEW, and Chris Bay, he jumped up severely. Like Wheeler was 386 last year, Chris Bay 202, and they're both in the top 100s. It's like holy crap.
Yeah, it's this. We kind of forget that this is kind of like part 2 of the pandemic, whereas last year's PWI 500 was starting to like really when the pandemic was going was at the end of the evaluation period. Most of this evaluation period was when things were still shut down, and when you think about it, 75% of the evaluation period was with no fans in attendance for most promotions. So that's the interesting part of it. Any names stick out to you as well, Tommy?
Trish Adora thing for sure stuck out. I love the fact that Eddie Kingston is at 75 because considering that probably never would have happened had he not gotten a TV deal. That he wouldn't be that high. I was trying to remember if there were some other ones from San Antonio, not San Antonio, just from Texas in general that were higher. But I think it was just Q and Brian Keith that were the ones who were really stood out to me. Well, coming from Japan, I do like the fact that Sawama from All Japan was higher. He was at 18. I think had he not been sick, I think he got sick right around the end of the judging of the judgment period.
Okay.
I think he actually caught COVID. He was sidelined for a while. I think he's back now and he's fine. Thank God. Him, Okada being lower. That's fair. I think he's one of the guys to me that as always kind of puts himself on the back burner to let everybody else jump up. Evil being higher makes a lot of sense because of right when the period ended and him jumping up, joining Bullet Club, having the House of Torture stable now. I think that's what they're called.
Did y'all mention Trevor Murdoch making a big jump off his NWA run?
No,
not
yet.
He's at 78, and he was at 389 last year.
Amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
It may be one of the biggest. It might be the biggest jump. Oh no, Rohit Raju.
Yeah.
Was a little bit bigger at 72, but they all jumped about 300 spots. So.
Oh, but did you see? Did you notice? Well, John Akiyama, he made a huge jump.
Just got to that one, so yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but Lee Moriarty, he jumped up a lot. And I'm guessing a lot of this is the TV deals they've been doing.
Yeah, definitely their exposure I think is helping that.
Yeah, as I was telling Tommy when you stepped away, a lot of the people that jumped were getting some TV exposure with no fans in attendance. Like the 75% of this evaluation period did not have fans in attendance when you think about it.
Right.
So this was kind of the part 2 of the pandemic. So it's really a testament to how well people did. Which, speaking of which, Bryan Danielson, still listed here as Daniel Bryan because he was that during the evaluation period, is 36.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cesar's at 32, by the way, jumping from 127. So.
Yeah, no, I saw that. And honestly, if they would have given him more of a run against Reigns, like even a second or a title rematch, I think he would have been into the 20s or into the teens.
Yeah.
But they cut that so quick. He got the one match, and then he was gone again. So that's unfortunate.
Getting our hopes up like that and then just taking them away, it's really not cool.
Maybe not pushing Cesaro. That must mean it's a day that ends in Y.
Sadly, yeah.
Without looking, any guesses where Dominic Mysterio debuted on the PWI 500?
619?
No.
Oh, wait.
I do respect that joke.
See what you did there.
I respect that joke.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where was he?
147. And Rey Mysterio.
When did he debut?
Let's see. Debuted during SummerSlam, losing to Seth Rollins.
Yeah. So it wasn't too long after the beginning. I got to be honest.
It's been almost a full year.
Might be a little bit low for him.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't. Yeah. He didn't wrestle like a lot on TV. When you think about it, he was mostly used closer to some major pay-per-views. It was SummerSlam. He was in the Royal Rumble. Obviously, there was Backlash where he won the tag titles with his father, and was Rookie of the Year for PWI. So, he wasn't, I guess, as active as he could have been on TV. Now, if he was as active as someone else, he probably could have been higher. We'll
Probably should have been at least 137, I would say.
Funny. Rey Mysterio was 103, by the way. So just by comparison's sake, very easily Dominic, if he still has another great year, he could crack the top 100. I'm pretty sure. So.
Oh yeah, I think he will with some consistent wrestling this year.
And it'll be interesting to see as things start to pick up, as fans get back into attendance, as shows get booked more, as independents start working more and more, how this list is going to adjust from next year. And if you're watching this, let us know your thoughts. Take a look at the list. I'm sure you could do a quick Google search and find it anywhere. It seems like that. And if you have the magazine, go check it out. You can get your copy, PWI-online.com. And I'm very interested to see if Darby Allin and or Orange Cassidy crack the top 10 next year.
I'm thinking yes. If they don't get injured.
Yeah.
If they don't get injured, and if keep it up with their current run, and especially if AEW gets 6-man tag team belts, at some point, yeah.
See, I kind of I mean, I don't know if that'll help their PWI run because they prioritize singles, right, but I mean, who knows, right? Anything could happen. So, yeah.
Real quick, guys, go down to number 311 on the list if you can. That's a very interesting wrestling name.
311.
What?
Yep.
What is this?
Formerly Dasher Hatfield. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know who he is? Former Dasher Hatfield. He used to be at Chikara.
Okay, that explains it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
He had a baseball themed gimmick.
Right, I remember that. That's him.
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot that was the same guy because I actually didn't know that. I forgot until you brought it up just now. But yeah.
I remember that character. That's kind of funny. I was just scrolling down, looking through, and I was like, "That's because since Chikara is defunct now, unfortunately. Yeah, true.
Sad
because of Mike Quackenbush having shady business dealings, which disappoints me greatly. But so I forgot that was his new name, and because I think I meant to tell you that before, but then forgot. It's hilarious. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, who's Mr. Irrelevant this year?
It's actually Miss Irrelevant. Lulu Pencil is a woman at number 500. Yeah. So, she one of the 29 women. Number 500 is one of them on the list. Lulu Pencil. So, yep. And that's in her rookie year too. So, pretty awesome.
I was gonna say, it's like for her rookie year and getting to 500, is that really that bad?
No.
Kind of good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where some of these women, if they're where they make it onto the women's 100, which should be coming out probably in another month or so, and then follow that by the tag team 50. Now people are starting to debate it if they should put this all together. I personally say no. I understand the 500 and the tradition. Keep that where it is right now. However, as progress is made and women start wrestling more and more against men and mixed tag, I wouldn't be surprised if some women start cracking the top 25, the top 10, and maybe years down the road we get the number one PWI 500 be a woman. Who knows? Yeah. But yeah, I think the women's 100 is something really good right now, and you want to keep that at least for the foreseeable future. And since these lists prioritize singles over tag teams, I think it is also very important to keep the tag team 50 so that those names get recognition as well. So
I think all the lists, the way they have generally put them out, should stick the way they are.
Yep. Guys,
my argument is if you don't like the list, make your own.
Yeah, true. You do the research and see what happens here.
If you don't like the that's kind of like my argument with a lot of stuff lately is if you don't like it, make your own. Like PWI500 is BS. Cool, make your own list. I don't know the 500 wrestlers. Okay, make the top 100, make the top 50. Just make your own list. If you do not like something, make your own list. This was being a fan fiction writer. I don't like something. I'm going to change this.
Exactly.
But also, if you don't know that many, use their list and like I was just doing, start clicking on names you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
like you'll find people, and you know, maybe you'll watch them, you know, improve over the year and jump up the list, and
Because
you know,
honestly,
names you never knew of.
It may cost you a bit of money, but you can watch all these matches somewhere. Like it
Yeah.
may cost you like to join a streaming service. You have to like go on some random either YouTube channel or find someone who posts these matches. But you can watch this stuff at somewhere.
That's true.
It's on someone's version of the WWE network. It's out there.
I wouldn't be surprised if the vast majority of the people on here are the indie talents. You can just do a quick YouTube search and find a match or two of theirs on there for sure.
Clips of
Sure.
Yeah.
Or Daily Motion.
Yep. All right. Let's move into our 1 minute warning segment here. Mike, do you have something for us this week?
Sure.
All right. Whenever you're ready to go, 3, 2, 1, hit it.
So I just wanted to share real quick, and I showed the guys before the show. I bought the collar and elbow Daffney tribute shirt that just they released. And actually, you know, after everything happened with her, I went on Pro Wrestling Tees over the Labor Day holiday because I figured, you know, even with her passing, that you know that Pro Wrestling Tees has always been good about giving more money to the wrestlers. So I figured they would, you know, send it to her family. So I bought some of her older shirts on there, and then this came out, and they said specifically it was going to help her family and to the hospital that she wanted her brain to be sent for research. So I bought a bunch of shirts. Totally worth it. I know it's been a couple weeks and we're kind of moving on, but it's still weird just to look at pictures and you know, look at the shirts and stuff and just think back. So just want to continue to keep Daffney in our minds and presence, and just remember how awesome she was, because you know, it was such a tragedy, but the outpouring of love for her was really awesome. And I just, you know, I want her to be remembered for all the joy and the fun she brought to wrestling and our interactions with her. So, Daffney, we still love you, and we'll keep your memory alive.
If you want to show the shirt again, your camera was a bit frozen when you talked about the very beginning, but you're welcome to. Yeah.
So
cool.
It's Daffney, and yeah. So it's through Collar and Elbow, I believe. It's the one officially done with her family to raise money to help them, and like I said, also it's donating, I think, to the hospital in Boston.
Okay.
Or something. Yeah.
Very cool. Thanks, Mike. Tommy, do you have something this week?
Just real quick.
All right. Whenever you're ready, set, and go.
The G1 Climax is still underway in Japan, and Tai Chi is somehow doing really well. I don't know what black magic world we are living in right now, but Tai Chi is doing well. What's happening? Toru Yano could become a KOPW champion again.
What do you mean could? He will. Something wrong if he's not.
I mean, no. What is this year? Like, what is happening? Because anyway. I love the G1. Like I'm still behind on a couple of days, but yeah, it's been like New Japan is really kind of like, I won't say making up for, but like, you know, kind of like, you know, getting the fans back excited about it because of all the time they did miss. But you know, it's a G1 Climax. It's always must see. This year is no different. Track it down, all the matches. Takagi and Ishii were trying to kill each other. Will not convince me otherwise, unless I hear from their mouths that they were just, you know, just for the match. No, they wanted one or the other to die, and like only the pinfall stopped it. That's it. Yeah, G1 Climax. I talk about it every year, but yeah, it's going great. So
I'll just add in Jeff Cobb is 2-0, by the way, just to start.
Nobody freaking asked.
Saying Jeff Cobb is Toriano for the briefcase. I'm telling you.
Nobody asked.
Could see one of the two at Wrestle Kingdom. I'm just saying. I hope.
Nobody asked.
Do you really dislike this man because he pinned Okada?
No, I dislike the fact that he pinned Okada. I don't dislike the man. I dislike the fact that he pinned Okada.
I mean, how do you ever expect to make new stars if you don't let your already established superstars?
Yeah, WCW. Come on. So.
Fine. Call me WCW. I'm an Okada mark for the rest of my life. I don't care.
That's all good.
That is the one area where I will not budge on. I don't care.
I think you're just racist against big guys. I think that's what it is.
No, it's
Ow!
he doesn't like two big guys. He's not a fan of two big guys slapping meat. That's really what it's about. So,
No.
yeah.
He definitely doesn't want Big E and Goldberg in the main event.
No, he
so.
does not. There, I got the headphones off. We're good. All right. All right. My 1 minute warning. I know a lot of Extreme Rules people have been talked about how they gimmicked this and destroyed that. But when you go back and watch that main event and enjoy the wrestling of it, can we really appreciate how good of a heel Roman Reigns is? Even for the little things, I know some fans were been waiting for him to be heel, so they wanted to see him and cheer him. But the crowd in Columbus chanting for a table, him pushing it back, the little things like, no, we'll wait. No, they pull the table out. No, we'll wait. But the best part about it is when he threw the demon into the crowd and stood there and held his hand out so Paul Heyman could give him a mask. So he could put the mask on to go through the crowd. Now, obviously, he's survived leukemia twice. That might be a reason, weakened immune system. Could be a safety protocol thing. But even if it was, the fact that he used that to show that you aren't worthy to breathe the same air that I do, or I don't want to breathe the air that you guys do in the crowd, I thought it was such a great move, such a great heel move. And let's just enjoy. We said we wanted Roman to be a heel. This is proof positive that it is working. And to be honest with you, I kind of want to see him as a heel with or without a title for a long time now, because he's doing such a much better job as a heel than he did as a face. So,
Yes, 100%.
yeah.
It's to me, it's like he's getting to really embrace that side of him that I knew he had, because he had it with the Shield
Right.
when they originally debuted. But it's like now he gets to. I don't know if he is, but it feels like he's less scripted now. You know, it feels
Seems that way.
feels
You know.
like, it feels like he doesn't have to. Like he's not reading. Maybe he still is. I'm not saying that I know for a fact he's not. Maybe he still is. But it feels like now he gets to come up with this stuff more on his own, because now they he has to just hit the basic talking points. Head of the table, acknowledge me, but everything else he gets to say.
Yeah, I think a lot of Paul Heyman is rubbed off on him. You're not going to script a Paul Heyman promo. You give him what you want to say and let him do it.
That's
Yeah.
literally impossible to script a Paul Heyman.
And also, it goes back to the theme of our show, because the same thing has happened to McIntyre that's derailed his groundswell of momentum after winning the Rumble. Once you become, or the WWE wants you to be the top face, you can't really be a badass in the way you were before. Like, remember McIntyre was just a big, scary man kicking people's heads off, and then they went into this run, and then he started quoting history and talking about all this weird stuff, and he couldn't just be McIntyre kicking people's head off and being a big, badass, muscular man. He had to be the face of the company, and not to go. I know we're almost at the end, but WWE's idea of the face of the company is just not what most people want to see out of these guys. The way they portray him, it's far too 1980s.
Yeah.
Good guy type stuff. And
look at how much more people enjoyed Bobby Lashley when he just went just megaton, just started going monster on people. I mean, like the whole gimmick with the women in the suits was cool for a minute, and I'm glad they stopped it, because like I said, it was cool for a minute. But then when he went back to being just monster Bobby Lashley, that's what was the dance in the first place. That monster winning the Miz.
Yeah, the moment he destroyed Kofi in that one match, that was the Lashley we wanted to see.
And do you remember when Lashley first came back and they did the thing with his sisters and how dumb it was, and just how
with the Lana thing and all that stuff too? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There's some things you have to move on, and I'm really, really praying that the NXT doesn't start to evolve into what Raw and SmackDown are. That the whole point of NXT for me is personally, like, you're building them up to know how you do the camera work, do the shows, how the ramp is and all that stuff. but you want people to express their talent and bring something. You want them to build their character because they're the younger generation. They're the ones up and coming here. And if you have people that weren't even born in the 1990s, 1980s, born in the year 2000s, and you're going to book them in something that's reminiscent of the 1980s, at least how your booking decisions are, they're not going to have their heart in it. It's not going to make sense. And the audience that's watching is not going to relate. So, yeah.
I heard they want to bring up the Hit Row from NXT, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Only because like that's why I never wanted the Undisputed Era to come up. It's like, but no.
Yeah.
No.
Vince would turn Hit Row into like the Funkadactyl. That doesn't sound good.
That's what he would do.
That's why I don't want that. Is because like like to me they're fun right now. They're great right now. It's like and okay, again, this matters to me. It's another black faction, and they're loads of fun with doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that ruined. Because we got the Hurt Business back now, but they ruined that for a minute, for a good minute, and it's like, oh, and so a friend of mine brought up. It's like he said, all right. So he showed me a post someone put. It's like, are we supposed to get all the stuff that happens in the Hurt Business and they're suddenly back and fine? And it's like, two things. It's WWE, so yes, we're supposed to forget all about it, and also it's the Hurt Business. I want them back together. So yes, I choose to forget all about the other stuff. Just to, if it gets us them back, cool. I will forget everything else that we did before.
Yeah. That being said, Braun Breaker, despite the dumb name they're giving him, that dude's legit. And Baby Steiner, I think is gonna wreck it on the main roster whenever they bring him up. He's
my hope.
Looks like son of Rick.
Here's how this history is going to go with him. They're going to make him this character. They're going to do something. They're going to tire of it. He's going to fall to the wayside. He's going to get released. Then he's going to come up with his Steiner name and use that and become a star. And then if you want to bring him back,
like an Impact,
yeah, or even AEW for that matter, or New Japan, he's going to make the Steiner name big again. And then what do you do now? You're not gonna be able to bring him in and call him Braun Breaker again. It's not gonna work, So
I mean, if he does it in New Japan, that's like keeping with tradition because the Steiners were huge as a tag team in Japan. Oh my God! If you watch some of that old footage, like if you find some of their old like New Japan Tokyo Dome matches, the crowd went nuts for those guys. So yeah, he did well in Japan.
We've talked about before my love of early '90s pre-NWO WCW. Oh man, the Steiners in those days, early '90s.
Yeah, they were fantastic. That's why it's like when people say, like, that's why like one thing about Extreme Rules to before we go is like I'm sick of people like always comparing Usos and Young Bucks. Like I get comparing them, but also you can just say that they had a great match. I saw that was the violence I unintentionally decided to choose that morning and to put it on Twitter. I chose violence this morning. I didn't realize it, but it's like because you can always argue which tag team or wrestler is better across generations, because there are some people who will say the Young Bucks are the best tag team of all time, like Mike said. But if you go back to early WCW and you have like the Steiners, people will say the Road Warriors. People will say this and this and this and this and this, and it's all either and there's all subjective answers, and then there's all like just pure and there's also criteria people consider when naming the best, and that some people fulfill and some don't. Yep. So to me, it's not like, I'm not saying you can never compare wrestlers to another. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like, yeah, but at a certain point, there's like comparing them, and then it's just like, oh, because like what the tweet I read was like, if you think the Usos or the Young Bucks are better than the Usos, there's like you're not paying attention or some of that effect. And it's like, no, that's not true at all. You can think they're both great tag teams and pick one better than the other, and nothing be wrong with you at all, because it's subjective. And there's certain things that meet criteria of what you think is the best tag team that someone else might not think is the best tag team. It's because people are just different that way.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to say before we go real quick, I would love to see a fantasy match of the Young Bucks versus either Steiner's LOD, and both of those teams no-selling their super kicks, because both of those teams would no-sell so much offense from their opponents.
Oh man, it would be hilarious. In a fantasy world, I'd love to see that too.
Yep. All right, our Twitter account at @CCG_WrestleCast at the bottom of the screen right under Tommy. Let us know your thoughts here on the AEW Grand Slam on Extreme Rules and what you think of the PWI 500. Who would you put higher? Who would you put lower? Who was excluded you think should be in there?
Number one. I didn't get to say that.
Exotic number one. And who you think could crack the top 10, the top 25 next year? Let us know.
Taylor.
Shane, very, very possible. Which I will say this, by the way.
One spot higher no matter where Shane Taylor.
Don't be surprised if Shane Taylor Promotions is in the top 10 of the Tag Team 50, at least. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Should be.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see. We'll debate that as well. Next week, we're going to talk about Impact Knockouts Knockdown. A one-night all-women's event on Impact Plus. Not this weekend, but next weekend. We're going to discuss that. And getting close to Bound for Glory. Keep an eye on Impact. This is their big month in October. It's not just for the baseball playoffs, by the way. This is also the biggest month of the year for Impact.
How you work that in.
Thank you very much. By the way, my dad got me this new hat of pixelated Ken Griffey Jr. This is amazing. I love this.
Nice.
Junior.
That's pretty cool.
Junior.
That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Nice.
But yeah, Bound for Glory is the biggest show for Impact every year, and it's looking really good too. We already know Christian Cage is going to defend the World Championship against Josh Alexander, something they have been building for a long time, and we'll see what else goes into this. We'll see how much Knockdown has an effect on that. So, and before we go, I just want to say happy 2-year anniversary to Tommy and his wife Lagaya.
Happy anniversary, guys.
Congratulations, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Any big celebration for that? I know it's hard to get out anywhere with the pandemic, but yeah.
Not yet. We've been talking about it. If we might do something this coming. If not this coming weekend, this coming month, just like, because we were both working yesterday, so
yeah,
we'll figure something out. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We do appreciate it. We made it. Nobody lost power during the storm, and it seems to have gone away for now. So everyone, please stay safe out there. And we'll be talking more wrestling as well as we come up here too. And also one thing on the Geekcast as well, I want to note, my friend Kathy and I are going to be doing some special episodes. In November, Season 4 of Star Trek Discovery gets going on Paramount+. We haven't had a whole lot of Star Trek content on the Geekcast, and Kathy's a big Trekkie. I'm an original series guy, and I love Discovery. And I will say, if you haven't watched any Star Trek, go watch Discovery. It's great for people that have never seen anything on Star Trek. I think it's really good. 3 seasons have gone by. It's so well done. We're going to talk about Season 1 on episode, Season 2, Season 3, and then go episode by episode with Season 4. So
I need to catch up. But I grew up in a Trekkie household. If maybe I'm in.
Get on Paramount Plus and watch it. It's so good. It's so worth it. There's a great cast of characters, and it starts as a prequel to the original series. And there's even a spin-off show coming off of that called Strange New Worlds that's looking really good, and that actually follows the Enterprise with Captain Pike. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So give it a chance there, guys. Thank you, everyone.
May the force be with you, am I right?
You dick.
I'm just kidding.
Over here we got Tommy.
I don't even know how to go out from that. So just, bye, guys.
And over here pissing off nerds everywhere, we got Mike.
I apologize. Bye, guys. Be good to each other.
And I'm JC. As always, heels and baby faces. Remember, pro wrestling is real. People are fake.
Hey.
We'll see.